In an ever-changing world of college sports, where NIL means players go to the highest bidder, schools by the Pacific Ocean are in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Notre Dame kind of participation trophying their way to the college football playoff. In that era of college sports, it does seem as if potential realignment is in the future, and there are two schools that are rumored to be joining the ACC. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ACC Uprising. My name is Grant Mitchell. It's Monday. It's the start of a new week. I hope you all have gotten off on the right foot, and I hope that you all are happy to be joining me here today as we talk about possible conference realignment and two schools that could be joining the ACC. You know, in this era of constant chopping and changing where you've got Big 12 schools going to the SEC, Cal and Stanford and SMU have just joined the ACC. Everybody's moving all around. You know those puzzle boards where you've got, like, let's say 8 pieces to a puzzle and it's a 9-piece board and you have to slide them around? I think they call it a slide puzzle. You have to slide them until you get the perfect picture. That's kind of like the era we're in right now. And lo and behold, we have two schools that have been pretty heavily linked to the ACC. So in this video, we're going to jump into that. What are those schools? What are the motivations? What does it ultimately mean if it is going to happen? So if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you have hit the like button. Number one, that's always the top way you can support us here. Jump in the comment section and leave your thoughts below. That's a big one. Always want to hear from you guys to make these videos for you all, so I want to know what your thoughts are. And subscribe so you never miss out on the uploads we got coming out pretty much every single day here on the channel. So we're going to be referencing a report here from Christopher Lambert, who covers college football, college sports, West Virginia, conference realignment, all sorts of stuff. And I'm just going to read you what he had to say here because there's no words wasted. It doesn't pull any punches, gets right to it. Here's what Mr. Christopher Lambert had to say. Quote, "High degree of confidence. ACC plans to target TCU and WVU and bid to hold off Big 12 raid. ACC scheme intended to strengthen perception of conference and weaken the Big 12 prior to the Big 12's contract year in 2030 to 31. We also had a follow-up on this report from Christopher Lambert as well, and he says, quote, "The source for this is credible and it makes strategic sense, but I'm not sure either TCU or WVU see the ACC as stable." Let's start with the obvious here, and this is something that I've already said in this video, but conferences are no longer regional. Cal and Stanford are in the ACC. Like, it's funny, we overlook it, we just kind of skip past it because that's the world we're in, but the A in ACC stands for Atlantic, and they're Pacific. So any regional binds that may have existed in the past no longer matter. Now, there are real, tangible benefits to adding these teams. For TCU, you get access to the Dallas-Fort Worth market. And don't get me wrong, okay? Obviously, SMU is there, but this adds to the presence in what is the 4th largest metro area in the United States. So that's a pretty big deal from just a viewership and exposure standpoint. You'd also get more Texas talent into the conference. Not only would you hope that SMU and TCU are recruiting those hotbeds, but let's say a kid really wants to go to SMU or TCU. And of course, we're talking about a kid who is not just signing to the highest bidder, which a lot of these kids are. And heck, who can blame them, right? Like, that's the era we live in. But a kid who really wanted to go to TCU and he doesn't get the offer. And then here comes along Wake Forest, who says, "You want an opportunity to come beat them? We got a spot for you." Like, this is a way to get more Texas talent in the conference. And again, even if it's, let's say a Texas kid commits to TCU or SMU, right? And then they play for a year or two and they want to stay in the ACC because they're familiar there, but they want to transfer. Again, you're adding more talent to the conference. Also, reputable programs here, TCU and WVU. And I'm going through these one at a time, so I'll get to WVU in just a moment. But TCU, they were in the national championship a few years ago, okay? And it does feel like we're quite removed from that because of how things have changed, but even still, TCU is a very good football team. Like, they would add to the competitiveness of the conference, make no doubt about it. You saw what they did to North Carolina earlier in the year, right? And I get it. It was very early on. It might have been the first game of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been Belichick's debut in college football. So things have changed, but even still, you upgrade the talent in the conference. And also, you restore the TCU-SMU rivalry, the battle for the Iron Skillet, and it becomes a conference rivalry. You get that in-conference play. So that would be pretty cool. On the WVU side of things, you get more into the Appalachians, and that's good because that's really kind of That's really kind of the bedrock of a lot of this conference and a lot of its heritage and tradition. And in me saying that, if you get WVU back, well, you restore the rivalries with Pitt, the backyard brawl, Virginia Tech, the Black Diamond rivalry, and Syracuse. This is a lot of, and I know WVU was in the Big East, right? But a lot of these schools came from the Big East. So you bring those rivalries into the modern conference that houses them all, right? It feels like a coming home almost. It feels like it's just made to be. You're regrouping WVU with the schools that it created these traditions with, and now you're just playing them out, adding new chapters to them in the modern era. From a competitive standpoint, TCU, and I spoke about this, but they are a consistent Big 12 contender. They might not be a threat to win the ACC every single year, but they might be a threat to win it, and they're never going to be towards the bottom. That middle ground area, the median, which is a lot of how these conferences are judged, right? With the SEC loves to talk about how it's the best conference in college football, and they really judge it by their median. What is their median? Oh, we have this many teams who are going to go 9-3, this many teams who are going to go 8-4. The Big Ten, realistically, the Big Ten's been the better conference the last couple of years because their top-end teams, they've had 3 or 4 of them, and they've been better than the SEC's top-end teams, but they don't have the same depth. That's what you always hear. TCU gives you depth, if nothing else, and they can compete for the conference title. West Virginia, as I was just mentioning, there's tradition, there's heritage, there's storylines there, and then it's the same thing. This is a school that might not be consistent year in and year out, but they are competitive in a lot of different sports, and they're always going to be adding to that mid-pack fight if they're not in one of their up years. And when they have those up years, they can really challenge for something serious. So this also helps in the case of potential losses. We all know that Florida State and Clemson probably eyeing up an opportunity to exit the conference in 2030, 2031, right around there. That's what it looks like, and things can change before then. But in the event that does happen, this is almost an insurance policy. Is one of these teams as good as Clemson in Clemson's championship years? Who knows? But is Clemson going to get back to the championship years? We also don't know that part of it. So you're preventing against that, and then at the very least, even if those schools stay, even if Clemson and Florida State stay in the conference, you are adding to the overall quality of the ACC, and you're making it more expansive. You're getting out there into better television markets. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. Whatever your thoughts you got on it. Do you like those teams? Do you want someone else? Do you not want anybody at all? Whatever thoughts you got, make sure you throw them down in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new around here. Appreciate you rocking out here at ACC Uprising, and I'll catch you in the next one.